Hello, today I will review the Iberostar Varadero Tropical Resort. This review reflects my personal experiences and opinion as a tourist, and I will try to be as objective as possible. I will take you on a general trip around the resort, and we'll discuss the rooms, the restaurants, the swimming pools, the beach, the bars, the children pool and mini water park, and many more. So stick with me and enjoy the next 15 or so minutes. Hotel Iberostar Varadero is located on the Varadero Peninsula on the northern coast of Cuba. It is a convenient location as the Varadero International Airport is nearby and the subsequent shuttle bus is no longer than 20 minutes. Iberostar Varadero is a relatively small resort. It has 11 residential buildings, which means that everything is close and conveniently located. Going anywhere at the resort is just a matter of a couple of minutes' walk. The Iberostar Varadero is an upper-class hotel and is probably one of the best resorts Cuba has to offer. Now, this does not mean you should bring your linen two-piece summer suits, but kudos if you do, you won't be out of place. But it does sit in the more luxurious end of the spectrum of Caribbean destinations. It is a beachfront property, so no matter where you're located, the walk to the beach is usually 1-2 minutes long, and that is wearing flip-flops. The lobby is spacious and beautifully designed. It features the reception desk, a general lobby area with fountains and flowers, the lobby bar, the pharmacy. There are a few small stores around where you can buy souvenirs, beach necessities, etc. The rooms are large and clean. They all feature a big balcony. The bathrooms are huge. Iberostar Varadero is a relatively small resort in terms of number of residential buildings, but when it comes to amenities, it is quite large, and this is something that has to be appreciated. Usually, resorts' resources are not calculated to serve all 100% of the customers in the same time. The idea of some of the architects is that not everyone will be simultaneously at the same spot. Here, however, this is not the case. You will never have to compete over a spot at the enormous swimming pool or for a long chair in the shades of the beach. Let's now say a few words about the swimming pools. Iberostar Varadero has one of the most amazing swimming pools. First of all, it is simply huge. Secondly, it is beautifully designed, with features like a colonnade, bridges, and a large gazebo located in the midst of the water. It was never preoccupied, mostly due to its enormous size, and there were always an ample choice of sunbeds. It's also beautifully lit at night, so you might even find it's a good place for an evening walk. Now, let's give some good news to the people who travel with children. Similar to other, more expensive Iberostars in Cuba, like let's say Iberostar Ensenachos, the kids' pool features a mini water park. Only, at Iberostar Varadero, the mini water park is not mini at all, and I believe it surpasses its analogs in any of the Cuban resorts. So if you travel with kids, both they and you will be very pleasantly surprised. A word of caution though. It seemed that by 7 o'clock in the evening, an employee would start adding disinfectants to the kids' pool water. This, one, suggested that the chlorine is not evenly administered to the water throughout the day, keeping a constant concentration of disinfectant in it, but rather it was added only in the evenings at high concentration, which would decrease over the next 24 hours until it is added again. I hope I'm wrong about this, and if I'm not, I hope this will be corrected in an express manner. And two, the smell of chlorine gets quite obvious by that time, So considering the toxicity of chlorine vapors, I would strongly recommend to wrap it up by 6:30 and take the kids elsewhere. Iberostar Varadero has several restaurants. I will pay special attention to the restaurant buffet, as this will be your main dining option. The buffet is probably the best I have seen in Cuba. It has 6 or so cooking stations, and the cooks who work there prepare meals all the time and then stock it up in front of the stations. They do that continuously during the meal times, and not only when asked by a customer, as it is often the case in other resorts. As a result, all the food is freshly prepared in front of you, and there are no lineups in front of the cooking stations ever. We noticed another major difference compared to other places in Cuba. Cooks do not have glasses, cups, or whatever type of containers dedicated for tips sitting in front of their cooking stations. I will attribute that to the higher class of this hotel. After all, it is quite unhygienic to have the chefs touch bills and coins with the same hands they prepare your food with. Therefore, we always felt it was a bad idea to actually tip the very cook. Leaving money on the table for the people who pick up and clean after you is a much better idea. The waiters and kitchen staff, as they said, split the tips equally anyway, so you won't feel like a bad guy and you will not assist in creating problems of hygienic nature either. You can also dine at the poolside restaurant, but be mindful that despite offering a sufficient choice, it still is more fast food and dessert oriented. There is a burger and dessert shack, kinda like a micro buffet at the beach as well. I have to say, we never saw lineups or service delays there as well. You have several places to get hydrated: the lobby bar, the pool bar, and the several beach bars, and I'll talk about them a bit later. As you probably noticed watching my previous reviews, I'm the type of tourist who is constantly aware of the surrounding events. So among all the other things, the class and the behavior of the other tourists is a very important factor to me. Actually, I have never had a vacation spoiled by a resort's personnel, but I have had a few pretty sour moments caused by inconsiderate, drunk, or simply uncultured fellow tourists. So if you are like me, listen on. I will slip in a few words about this as well. Now, did I mention Iberostar Varadero is an upper scale resort? It is significantly more expensive than the rest, but in my own experience, it was worth every single $1,000. Due to its price, the resort is actually visited mostly by Europeans. We met people from many different countries, fellow Dutch, Germans, Swiss, Russians, British, Bulgarians, and a few Canadians as well. This is quite different compared to other Cuban resorts, where the latter group usually represent probably more than 99% of the visitors, and who by political and geographical reasons are actually the most dominant tourist group in Cuba. Due to this variety, overall, Iberostar Varadero feels like a real international place. You can hear people speaking many different languages, and this is something we appreciated a lot. I mean, when we go to a vacation abroad, we feel that part of the deal we paid for is to actually have the feeling that we are in another country and away from home, don't we? I have in previous reviews mentioned the way too far from classy, enormous baba mugs, yes, apparently this is how they're called, that tourists visiting Cuba seem to wield everywhere they went. At Iberostar Varadero, you will not see any of those. The resort seems to insist on keeping its classy image, and bartenders do not pour drinks in anything but glasses. This was not just written in the hotel regulations and rules list, but it was actually followed quite strictly. Furthermore, I think a Baba Mug clad tourist might feel a bit embarrassed if he or she would bring such a container to Iberostar Varadero, considering that he might be the only one who packed one of these on his way to Cuba. Did I already mention that Iberostar Varadero really is a more upscale resort? Overall, we did not see any inappropriate behavior exhibited by our fellow tourists, and that, my friends, was something I really appreciated. Let's now move on and talk about the beach. It is quite beautiful, and the blue water is warm and clear even during the winter. The sandbank is a bit narrow, but this is quite alright, as it still is a beautiful beach, and if you dare to take a 2 minutes walk, you can actually enjoy a part of it, which looks like that. I will once again praise the efforts of the hotel management in keeping the place on the more luxurious end of the spectrum. I have previously mentioned, when I talked about Hotel Playa Cayo Santa Maria, how inconsiderate tourists would in a really annoying fashion get up early in the morning to reserve the best and the only sunbeds under the shade and then not show up until early afternoon. Here at Iberostar Varadero, this simply could not happen. The management obviously had encountered or had heard about this specific problem with a certain crowd at other places and then took a good care of it. Every parasol at the beach has a very clear sign stating that you cannot reserve sunbeds at Iberostar Varadero. Furthermore, the hotel regulations stated that should this happen, the beach tenders, who actually were there all the time, would collect any items used for reserving the long chair, and their annoying owners should look for them at a specific location. I mentioned beach tenders. Yes, there is dedicated personnel at the beach whose job is to ensure everything there goes smoothly. These men are usually placed in special gazebos, every 50 or so meters. During our stay, we noticed that they perform tasks like offering to and actually accommodating tourists and showing them the way to an available beach umbrella and long chairs, monitoring if anyone would dare reserve sunbeds and then disappear, and also provide general information. There are also several beach bars located again every 50 or so meters. You won't have to walk to them anyway, as the waiters who serve the beach are quite dynamic and professional. Unlike other places, here they constantly took orders and served their clients. Each of them covers a section between two beach bars and constantly goes up the beach collecting orders, then goes back to the bar collecting used glasses, and then goes up again serving the orders, picks up the empty glasses on his way back, and then up again to collect the new orders, and they did that all day long. We actually had to say "we are fine, thank you" more times than order, as the waiter would usually come back and ask if we needed anything long before we finished our first drinks anyway. And this, to me at least, was rather impressive. Now, if you're one of the few members of the book reading club, the resort also has a hammocks area in a small palm tree forest right behind the beach. Just lay back, grab a book, and relax in the tropical breeze. The evening entertainment is good. Yes, if you have to be frank, nothing so far, including the entertainers at Iberostar Varadero, could match the amazing professionals at Iberostar Varadero. Nevertheless, we have no criticism. They were quite alright.
Forward, open. Forward, open. Forward, open. Now, giramos, movemos las manos, derecha, then around.
Kids shows were also nice, and the children seemed to enjoy them a lot. Furthermore, there were many kids at the resort at that time, so when it came to a kids' mini disco, as they called it, the more, the better. All in all, I have only good words about the staff performance. They were quite professional. They did not waste time to familiarize with their customers, but concentrated on providing all the services the resort has to offer. Bartenders, waiters, cooks, waitresses, etc. worked in an express manner, and we never experienced slow service or any delays whatsoever. We liked this place so much that even now, when I'm making this review, I feel like I'm forgetting or missing something. I mean, I did not give you any special and scary warnings. Well, aside from the 7 o'clock chlorination of the kids' pool anyway. I did not express any significant criticisms, nor suggestions for improvement. Nor I provided any great ideas on making your vacation great there. But I guess we just liked that place so much, and our vacation was great without the need of any tweaks and hacks at all. I guess Iberostar Varadero really is one of the higher class Caribbean resorts. Well, what? I'll just say it. I love this place, and I would definitely empty my pockets once more to go visit it again.